Welcome to the video and live streaming show. I'm John Lacey, and I'm joined as always by Sam Proof. Hi,
Hey,
Sam. How
hey.
you doing this week?
Good. How you doing, John?
Yeah, no, not too bad. It's officially Saturday here in Australia in the
Yeah.
future. So I've enjoyed getting through the week. It's been a hectic one, but it's been a productive one as well. So that's always good. So
Yeah.
today we're
We're
talking all. Sorry, go
I was
ahead.
gonna say, yeah, we're in the middle of a blizzard warning in Los Angeles, which is new and different. So I'm
Hence the
bundled up.
cap.
Sorry.
Wow. Okay. Well, it's literally summer here in Australia, so I'll try not to make you too
Yeah.
jealous. But yes, welcome to the show, everybody. We are going out live to all of the various places. So if you are watching live, hit us up in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. Hi to Ryan, who's saying hi to you specifically, Sam.
Hey, hey. What's
Today we're
going on?
talking all about multicasting and actually taking one stream and presenting it to all kinds of different destinations. So I guess Sam, to start off, where what do you think are the benefits or the opportunities to actually streaming to multiple destinations?
Well, I think the most obvious benefit is that you're sort of casting this wide net. You're not hunkered down in one particular area. You could be on YouTube, you can be on Facebook, you can be on Twitch, wherever. And if you don't know, this is my main platform. This is where my base is. This is a great way to find that out, or just attract a base everywhere. It's possible. But yeah, I think especially for someone just starting out streaming, being able to go out to all of the platforms and actually see what kind of hits you get is very beneficial.
And I guess the thing that I've learned in recent times is that people definitely have preferences.
Oh yeah.
Some people some people like Twitch, some people hate Facebook. I know there were people that I was sort of communicating with a lot via Twitter that have decided Twitter's no longer for them. And
Yeah.
but if I head over to TikTok, for example, I know I can see what they're up to within seconds. So I guess it's worth trying that out. And I guess the other thing too is that there's not a lot to be lost by sharing your content more widely. And this is kind of an approach I take all the time. It's funny, Sam sort of says every time we talk, don't spread yourself too thin on too many platforms. But I guess my thing is, if I've made something and I'm giving it away for free, I might as well just put it everywhere and just see what happens. You can be more strategic with that as you actually sort of come back and get a little bit of feedback. And we've got someone in the comments saying they love the accent. I'm assuming it's mine, but I don't know. It could be
Yes. No,
Sam's.
it's yours. Hey, Sammy, how you been? No, I think when it comes to spreading yourself too thin, it is a battle of, effort versus time. And when you're doing something like multicasting, you've reduced both of those things. It is low effort, and the time is all kind of coupled on top of itself, right? So like you're hitting all these platforms together, as opposed to, if I cut a video and I specifically want to call out stuff to the TikTok people, but then I want to use that same video, but I don't want to say TikTok in it, so I have to make another cut that says Instagram and another one for Facebook and another one from YouTube. You've just quadrupled your time on one little project. So, I'm all about making something I can put to everywhere. But, if I have to do it 4 times, no good. If I do it one time and it goes everywhere, awesome.
And I guess I imagine for you specifically, you wouldn't be saying hi TikTok, hi YouTube. You'd be saying hi Sam Fam.
Right. Yeah, you
So
need you
if you
need
can
something
create a
like that.
nickname for your community wherever they are, that's a great way of getting over that, I guess.
Yeah. No, I think yeah, there are times where you do want to make content specific to a platform. That was a weak example for sure. Yeah, that seems like an easy one to get past.
Sure. So I mean, obviously there are a lot of multicasting servers out there. We're going to touch on a few of them today, but there are so many that we really can't get through all of them. But I guess Sam, what are the ones that stand out to you as someone who's been doing this for really, really long time.
Sorry, I was reading chat. Can you say the question one more time?
I was just saying, obviously, there are a lot of different multicasting casting services out there, or
Services. Sure. Okay.
multi-streaming. Yes. So, like,
Yeah.
are there particular ones that you want to talk about? I've got some that I'm going to mention too, but
Right. Yeah, I know
yeah.
which ones you're going to talk about, and I'll let you talk about it. I do like that one. So every month I do a multicast stream for Own Every Word, which is a game show, NFT game show, and we use StreamYard. I at first I was like, man, not so into this kind of thing. Like, why don't I just do everything in OBS? And when we actually tried to do the test on OBS using VDO, some people know it as OBS Ninja, to bring guests in, we had a lot of problems with getting all those connections and the latency and things like that. And StreamYard, it was good. Like, everyone's resolution stayed pretty solid, and the latency was instant. So I'm a pretty big fan of StreamYard now. I have used Be Live and Restream, and I think I've dabbled with a few other ones out there. But yeah, right now I think StreamYard's my go-to.
Nice. And I guess, Sam sort of alluded to the fact that I want to talk about some specifically, and just because I'm mildly, distracted by the chat, I'm just going to call this out before I get back onto the topic at hand. So they're asking about where my accent is from. I'm in Australia. I'm an Australian, so that's why you're hearing that accent. So it's obviously quite exotic to some of you. But today we're talking about this is sort of a video and live streaming show, and today we're talking specifically about multicasting. So taking one stream and including it in a number of different destinations. So as Sam sort of alluded to, OBS Studio is a beautiful thing. I actually use OBS Studio via Restream generally. So one of the two things that I do is I will either we'll either come into Restream Studio, which is sort of its browser-based platform, and that's where we're having this conversation today. But the other thing I can do is I can actually set it up to take the output from OBS Studio and just send that to a number of different places. I sort of it's almost shorthand now for me to say we're streaming in all of the places. But just on my side of things, I'm going out to Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitch. I don't think anyone knows I exist on Twitch, but I am on Twitch, and it is out there if anyone is so inclined. And I will talk a little bit about how you can actually do that, and especially in terms of actually scheduling events and managing comments and that as well. So again, if you've got comments or questions about this, let us know in the chat. But I guess that there is a bit of a trade-off between ease of use and power and flexibility. When I first started using Restream Studio, you're very constrained by their layouts and their templates,
Yes.
and that. And I've got to be honest with you, I'm a bit of a control freak. I like things set up in very particular ways. But once I let go of that, the thing that's beautiful about Restream Studio is it is so simple to get started and just go, and it doesn't require a lot of technical knowledge. And again, it's funny, people are often quite scared of OBS Studio as a piece of software, and I'm trying to help people overcome that fear. You don't need to know all the settings, you just need to know a few things to get started. But again, there's a little bit of a trade-off. And there are extra things that I need to do to bring comments into OBS Studio in a way that I don't really need to worry about in Restream Studio. So I can literally I've just got a list of comments here in the chat, and I can click on mine, bring it on the screen. So there's some very interesting comments in here. I'm not really sure about the context of them, but someone's asking, is this this guy the owner of StreamYard? No.
No, this
neither
is
of us
John
own
Lacey.
any. Neither of us own any streaming companies as such. So I mean, and to be honest, I've only dabbled in StreamYard very, very briefly. I had a look at it yesterday because it's been a while.
Yeah, I would say StreamYard and Restream are relatively similar in what they present to a user. There is a limit to how complicated you can make things. They have things that are very simplified and dumbed down for ease of use for new users. So they do have a bunch of pre-created scenes, and that's about it. And they both let you bring on comments or drop lower thirds or play video assets, which is all pretty streamlined, and the UX is nice. But yeah, I'm a big OBS fan. So if I'm not trying to bring in guests, which both of those have a pretty good way of doing, bringing in guests as well as bringing in comments. But if I don't need to do either of those things, and it's just me streaming out, like when I was doing the kitten cam, then just doing a straight service wouldn't hurt me. The only problem there becomes CPU usage.
Absolutely. So yeah, and again, I know we're getting a lot of comments. So I just want to say that Sam did work at Mobcrush. He no longer works at Mobcrush. I think he's looking for new opportunities. So
that's true.
Yeah, Mobcrush doesn't exist. So if you need help with your live stream, certainly reach out to Sam, because I'm sure he'd love to help with that. But no, neither of us have owned or been part of or are currently part of any streaming companies. Anyway, let's put it that way. So I guess the StreamYard, Restream, Be Live. Be Live is sort of an interesting one because I think it's a little bit more Amazon product seller focused.
Yeah.
But again, depending on your use of that may be something that's worth exploring. If we talk briefly about sort of our options in OBS Studio, and to be really honest with you, I'm just going to own this up front. I don't currently go from OBS Studio to multiple destinations. I do that via Restream. And I think the thing that I like about Restream in that context, and again, StreamYard's probably Ecamm, like all these things do sort of similar things in the sense that there actually was a plugin that you could stream to different destinations at the same time. But the problem with that is from your computer, you're sending data to all those services at once. And that's really going to cause some issues potentially for your internet connection if it's not super high. Whereas with Restream, StreamYard, you're actually sending one signal out to those services, and they're actually distributing to the other destinations.
Yeah.
And to be honest, even streaming directly to YouTube via OBS, I still find it's better if I go via Restream. I'm not really sure why.
Huh.
Yeah. The times I tried to do that just individually, it's been a little bit laggy and all over the shop. So I don't know. I mean, that's certainly an option. But I guess the other thing, and it's very exciting, and we've been alluding to this for weeks now, and I kind of want to talk about it a little bit more. It's all the rage in our OBS circles, but I'm going to share my screen in a second. But Atom have released this vertical plugin for OBS Studio, and it's kind of mind-boggling. So let me just share my screen. I don't know if you've had much chance to actually play with this just yet, Sam. But
I just used this literally for a brand campaign. I've been doing a lot more like sort of production work, I used it as a record-only scenario, so I could do both a 16:9 and a 9:16 recording, and just basically did a one-take like shot of this brand campaign for like some vertical videos. I was like, this is the best. This is just so goddamn good.
Absolutely. So I mean, now I'm sharing my screen. So this is OBS Studio, and on the left-hand side, you can actually see this is the virtual cam that I'm using for this stream in Restream. But I do also have a vertical version of this set up, and I guess the first thing to note is that these scenes can be the same or they can be different. So, I mean, obviously I've got a different background here because of the way that I show up in this show is slightly different to how I want to repurpose shorter clips. So, I mean, I've got both of those together. One thing I have been doing actually of late is I will stream my vertical, and I'll record that, and I'll also record the horizontal and the vertical. I'll actually do them both together. I'll put them both on the same timeline within Camtasia, which is my editing software. I'll make sure that the captions are correct, and then I'll just save a vertical version and a horizontal version, so they're literally in the same project. And it's been amazing how much that has helped my process, because we kind of know that that vertical video is becoming a huge thing. The other thing too, like you've literally got your scenes and sources up here, but you've also got your vertical scenes and vertical sources, and you can actually come in and actually link these. So if I were
Yeah.
to move to a different scene, like I can link these up together. So, I mean, this is going to be a little bit weird because I'm gonna show in three places as this scene because I am using the virtual camera. But if I go up
Right.
to my start screen, um, and again, I could play some music. I probably won't at this point in time. There is the waveform visualizer thing here, but I can literally sort of click through to these. They happen roughly at the same time. I have noticed a little bit of lag, and not all the same transitions are available to both
Right.
vertical and horizontal.
Yeah.
But but you can record both of them. I'm recording this at the moment as a bit of a backup. But of course, if you've been given the access on places like Instagram and TikTok, you can actually stream, and you can do both of these at the same time. It's really quite mind-boggling. And it's a free plugin.
Yeah.
That's the part that
Yeah.
blows my mind. Obviously, this company is sort of vying for the attention, and they want to upsell you on some other things. But it's
Yeah.
just it's really cool.
Yeah. The scene linking is so awesome. Like that was literally what I was using yesterday when I was recording those things. I was like, I now just have to make maybe 3 edits, which is like a trim at the front, a trim at the end, and just a little bit in that middle because there is that lag where it's like, man, it took me a second to be like, oh yeah, I'm on the other scene now. Let's go. But yeah, it's so
And
good.
like, there are so many possibilities that my mind's kind of on fire. But like,
Yep.
even for little things like for audio podcasters, making little audiograms in horizontal and vertical, maybe even square if they want to adjust those settings in OBS, and just doing it at the same time, and maybe just going into their video editor to maybe crop off the beginning of the end, and maybe add some
Yeah.
captions. Maybe you
Yeah.
could take that into CapCut. It's it's really it's quite amazing, like the tools and technologies we have today. And again, I don't want to be the grumpy old man that was like, back in my day, we had dial-up internet, which I did.
Yep.
But it's really cool, and like the creative possibilities are kind of endless.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome.
All right, so that's the Atom vertical plugin for OBS Studio. They are actually, I guess the other thing to note too is they are actually updating it quite a lot. So if you have installed an earlier version, just go to the website, grab a newer installer, and it'll override what's already there.
Oh, I may actually have
So
to look at that. I had one complaint about the vertical plugin, and that is that the hotkey that stops and starts the recording on it does not appear to be global. So if you go away from OBS to another program, it doesn't work.
yes,
Like you have to go back to OBS and do the hotkey, which is almost pointless at that time. So hopefully they fix that.
I mean, they have. I believe they've done some bug fixes, but I guess the other thing, like I've contacted them via LinkedIn and via Twitter, and they're very open to feedback, which is amazing. So that's really good. This is the video and live streaming show. I'm John Lacey, joined by Sam Proof as always, and today we're talking about multicasting. So actually taking one stream and sending it out to multiple destinations. What are some of the tools and techniques that you can employ to do that? I guess the next thing we want to think about a little bit is scheduling events. So, it's one, like anyone with the technology can go live at any time, but it's often a good idea to actually get into a routine and let people know ahead of time that that's happening. Before we talk about that generally, I do have a little video about how we can create events in Restream specifically. So let me just share that with everybody. How to schedule an event in Restream. In your dashboard, click on Schedule Events. Choose how you will schedule your events. You can use Restream Studio in the browser. You can use a service like OBS Studio, or you can schedule a pre-recorded video. Specify a title and description for your event. Specify a date and time for your event, and upload a thumbnail. Now click Next. Here you will specify your destinations. You can toggle as many of these on as your plan allows. So once you're happy with your events, you simply click Create Events. Okay, so I mean, there's a short overview of how you can schedule events in Restream. The only thing, and that was actually like a YouTube short, so it's there are a number of things I had to cut out of that demonstration to
Nice.
make it possible. But I guess the thing is, the thing that I probably didn't mention in that particular video is that once you select those destinations, you can go in and edit the settings for each of those destinations. So, I can go into LinkedIn, for example, and select the option for auto captioning for in English. I can go into my Twitter options and actually just go in and at certain people exam, for example.
Mhm.
So that's another thing to do. Do you have any recommendations or thoughts on what we should be thinking about in terms of actually scheduling live events, Sam?
Um, I mean, man. So yeah, there's different platforms that do or don't accept scheduling. So like YouTube and Facebook uh, do scheduling where Twitch doesn't. And with your Facebook scheduling, keep in mind that like they give you, I think it's like a 15-minute window, and if you miss that window, they cancel that event. So just make sure you're going to hit it. I think one of the most important things with scheduling kind of ties into then promoting your streams, because at some point you do need to pick one location depending on where you're promoting and point back to that particular thing. So it's cool to have schedules for like a YouTube because it'll kind of notify your followers or subscribers. Same thing with I believe LinkedIn does scheduling, right? You said that, and
Yes. Yep.
Facebook will kind of notify all those. But if you want people to be aware that you're going to be doing this on Twitch, there's no schedule per se. It's not the same kind of thing. So you might want to use that opportunity on your social media to point to that, if you get people turning up there at all. But you should figure out what platform you're kind of focusing on. You can't put a tweet out that says, "Hey, find me on Twitch, find me on Twitter, find me on LinkedIn." You got to pick one. You can't overwhelm people with choices.
It's funny you say that because I literally just last week on my other show I was talking about sort of calls to action in your live streams, and that is the classic thing that everybody does. It's like, here are the 15 things I want you to do, and people they won't remember them for starters, but they certainly won't actually take follow up and take action on them either. So, like you
Right.
say, I guess and we're going to talk about actually doubling down on specific platforms a little bit later, but I think I'll just mention now. For me, sort of YouTube and LinkedIn are my primary destinations. Everything else is a bonus. Ideally, I'm trying to get people off other platforms to join me over here. But like I said, if I'm doing something and I'm making it available for free, I just figure, what the hell? Let's just put it everywhere and see what happens.
Yeah. And as a side note, you mentioned kind of the different settings for things. You should, if you're going to be doing YouTube, make sure you go in and check out the customization on that, and uh, make sure your live chat and live chat replay are enabled and things like that. Um, Another thing to pay attention to on different platforms is some of them will have latency settings, so you take a look at those and adjust those as necessary.
And I guess one really cool thing about YouTube specifically, and I don't always remember to do this, but you can actually go into your chat on your live stream even before it goes live and put a comment
Yeah.
in and actually pin it to the top of your screen. So, in this case, I've actually said, for more information about today's show, head over to johnlacey.com. Um, so yeah, it's another great thing to sort of consider. Hello to uh, Garen Delaney from Micro Studio.
Okay,
When it's time to
Karen.
go, you got to grab your Micro Studio. He's commenting on the fact that I've got this shirt, and yes, I did actually order myself some merch, so I'm very excited about that. I have a coffee cup. I've got a number of different shirts. You'll certainly see me in those in coming weeks. So
I know I got to up
it's
my swag game. So
I was really like, I think I don't even know when I ordered this stuff. Like, I think it was maybe Sunday, and it was here by the following Friday. And
yeah.
like this shirt is actually embroidered with my logo.
Oh,
And
that's
it's like,
nice.
if you've got an SVG, it's mind-boggling the stuff that you can just upload
Yeah.
and do these days. But again, today's not really about merchandise, although maybe
No,
that's a
we're
topic
gonna.
for a future show.
I think we'll talk about. Well, we're gonna talk about monetization in the future, so that'll be in
Yes.
there. Yeah.
Absolutely. So this is the video and live streaming show. I'm John Lacey, and I'm joined as always by Sam Proof. Today we're talking all about multicasting. So how can you take one live stream and sort of share it with a number of different destinations? And again, we're going out live today on all kinds of places. So if you are watching live, let us know. I guess scheduling events, promoting the events ahead of time. I guess all the standard rules generally apply. Like they do vary a little bit between platform to platform, but you kind of want to think about what is the title of your show or your event? What is the thumbnail? Is it something really specific for your community, or is it just, let's listen to music and hang out? And both things are fine, and different communities will embrace those, and even different platforms. I see a lot more unstructured stuff on Twitch, for example, than I would on LinkedIn, and it's just really the nature of the beast. But yeah, Sam, do you have any thoughts on some of the other things that maybe people might like to consider in terms of actually creating an event and making people aware of it?
Yeah, I mean, I think you brought up two really strong topics that people really obviously need to pay the most attention to first and foremost, especially on a platform like YouTube, which is title and thumbnail. You are going to have different character lengths that you're allowed on different platforms, so make sure you have titles that fit within that or variations thereof, which is a great use of the AI stuff that John hates is, hey, give me like an 80 character version of this. Good to note with things like YouTube, you can also pre-enter the description, and within either the title or the description, you can enter 3 hashtags on YouTube. If you're going to do Instagram or something like that, you've got 30 hashtags over there. Same with, I believe, Facebook. I'm not sure what the limit on LinkedIn is, but make sure to, pay attention to those things and strategically use them. With YouTube, I wanted to say, like, you do have that ability to create a custom thumbnail, and you really should. And if you're doing shows, like this is a series of, streams that are the same topic, give it the same look. So when people are scanning through, they're like, okay, here's the next one. Here's the next one. Make sure you utilize the YouTube playlists and put all of those into one seamless playlist so that they're not like, well, this is when Sam and John are talking live streaming, then here's Sam doing that zombie board game, and now he's, I don't know, just drinking coffee and talking to people, and they're all just all over the place. No, you want things that visually will sync them together and lock them in their own thing. Create your own graphic template for that show. And similarly, keywords are apparently not as useful, they say, but it's still a field, so I use it. Like, I think there's still something there. So I think all of those things that you would do for a normal sort of video upload, you should still be doing when you're doing multicasting and live streaming, and pay attention to how those kind of group together.
Absolutely. And I guess the other thing too is that and I don't even know what this is also new, but I don't know what the implications of this is for us and the shows that we do. But YouTube is making a bit of a play for the audio podcasting market.
Yeah.
And they've announced that they're actually going to be making audio podcasts hosted on YouTube available on YouTube Music. And there are actually special settings within playlists now where you can indicate if a playlist is a podcast one or not. I don't think it's been rolled out to everybody just yet, but it's certainly coming, and it's certainly something I'm watching with great interest. Because I guess that's the other thing too. Different people will have different preferences when it comes to how they consume your content. And we kind of, to the extent that we're able to, we kind of want to give them options. So that's another reason why we're broadcasting to a number of different places as well. So that's a really good thing to keep in mind. So Sam, let's talk about managing cross-platform comments. So, and again, if you're using a service like StreamYard or Restream, this stuff is pretty easily built in. So, in fact, while I do this, hopefully Hopefully this won't slow my computer down any more than it already has, but I'm just going to bring something up in the background. But so within Restream Studio, where I'm broadcasting today, I literally have a list of all the chat comments from all the different destinations, and some of these are ones that I've set up, and some of these are ones that is nested. So I can come in from the list. There isn't an option to actually show the entire chat overlay on this stream. I'm very reluctant to do that because I feel like the minute you do that, someone's going to come in and write something offensive.
Right.
But I do love sort of clicking on a single column that's relevant. And again, we'll use Garen as an example in this context. I just have that flash across the screen. That's really, really easy to do. I guess another thing that I'd like to sort of draw people's attention to, if you are, and I've, okay, just give me 1 second. I've shared the wrong thing, so just bear with me.
All right.
I guess the thing, and I think Sam probably knows where I'm going with this, but the Ninja Social Stream plugin is kind of what I want to show you, and I'm just going to share my screen now. But this is a great way of actually bringing the comments into IBS or a similar service. So essentially, all it really is sort of an add-on to Chrome. So if I come in here, you have all these options. And basically, it gives you two links. One is, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't show you those because I think they're related to my session specifically. But essentially, they've got all these options. I can come in here. What I'd normally do is I'd actually just connect that to my Restream chat. And I'm going to, I don't think I've actually got it set up here, so I can't really show you. But essentially, it's literally just a browser source. And we've got one for the entire chat, and we've got one that you can click on, and it'll actually sort of it comes up as its own doc, and then you can click on those and actually incorporate them into your scene in OBS. So that's one that I've been using, and I really, really like it because I have a lot of control over how those things actually present within OBS specifically. But Sam, how do you sort of work with cross-platform comments?
Sure. I think before I answer that, I think we should talk about the fact that it's important to actually think this through, because you have all these people in these different bubbles who, may not be aware that you're multicasting, may not know the other people are out there. And depending on how many platforms you're actually going to, even with Restream, which allows you to do like 22 to 30 platforms, depending on the time of year and how many streaming services still exist, because it varies fast. There's going to be some that do or don't have an API connection. So even you as the streamer may not get those comments if you're just looking at a vertical feed like the Restream feed, which is good for like all of the big ones. You're going to get your Twitch and your YouTube and your LinkedIn and all of those. But if you were to do some of those Asian specific live streaming sites, you may not actually see those comments coming in. So it's good to actually have people in your community that can monitor things for you. We've talked about having moderators in the past, but specifically people just to be aware of, if you have streams that for some reason you wanted to try every single platform you could possibly link to your Restream, which I tried at one point. It's almost impossible to manage. But yeah, if you have the community reach to do that, do that. But within that, there are tools so that you as the streamer can see all the chat or as much of the chat as possible. And you can even relay chat from like a YouTube to a Twitch, which I believe Restream has a bot that does that. Batissimo, which is one of my favorite bots, also has a relay service of that nature. Something else is kind of a side note that I really like with our Kitten Cam, which we still use today, even though it is Twitch specific. But back in the day when it was multicasting, we did it too, is with Batissimo, we could redirect all of the chat to a specific Discord channel and just have an archive. So people come into a conversation late and they can still see what was happening. They can be like, wait, let me look that up. So I think it's important to know that your audience may not see the rest of your audience, and being able to find these gaps and communicate the Twitch people over to the YouTube people and then to the Facebook people. So everyone kind of knows everyone's out there. And you might even have to explain once or twice why there's a bot that is saying so many things if you use one of those relay bots. It's important to have. And again, having moderators to then look at chat and get rid of any bad comments, because those could get relayed over. But
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll just bring my screen up again. I'll just give you a sense of how this works with the Ninja Chat. So again, the only thing I don't kind of love about the virtual the vertical plugin is that it takes, once you've got scenes for both of them, it takes up a lot more real estate. So at the moment, I've literally just got my Ninja Chat up here at the moment, and I've got a couple of test messages. So if I click on those, it'll actually pop up here. Again, I probably need to resize that a little bit because it's not there. But essentially, it's just a source in my channel here somewhere. I'm sure it literally the one called chat, if I can remember that. So yeah, essentially that's what it looks like. And you can come in and sort of adjust how this looks and where you want to resize these things to. If you're a web developer type person, you can add your own custom CSS, which is fun as well. You can sort of refresh and clear that. So I guess, in fact, let me just, it's actually cropped. Give me a second. So I'll hold down Alt and I'll drag that out. Does still seem a little bit weird, but anyway, so I might need to refresh that. But essentially, what it'll do is it'll take those comments and actually put them on the scene. So as Sam sort of alluded to, you know, that way anybody watching can get a sense of what you're reacting to. So obviously, you might need to be a little bit tweaked here, but again, you can use those in both sort of the vertical and the horizontal if you've got that set up. So it's really just a way of sort of bridging that gap between communities.
Yeah, I do like the on-screen chat overlay for that reason, because it's very obvious. Like you can see like an icon, it says Twitch next to one person's name, or or YouTube next to someone else's. It's got the little icons. It should be pretty apparent. And now I think a lot more people are more hip to it. Whereas like 5 years ago, it was a little more like, wait, I don't see those comments. What's happening? But again, yeah, you just have to make sure your moderation team is on it. And then I would highly suggest, for if you're going to use an overlay like that your bots have a certain strict level of moderation happening to prevent trolls from doing horrible things on your stream.
Absolutely. So again, like I say, and it's funny because different streamers have very different views on sharing the chat, and some people, like my community, are angels. They can never do anything wrong. But I'm, as I said, I'm much more of a control freak, so I do like to actually call out the ones that I want to call out and not just let it open to the entire world. So
I mean, but that also just makes it that much more special when it does happen. So
absolutely, it encourages people to add to the conversation in meaningful ways. You know, if you want to get that chat out, you've got to participate and not just spam the chat with, you know, come look at my video over here or something like that. So I guess let's talk about actually and I don't even know how to answer this question because it is so far removed from my experience, but I know that Sam is the chatbot a king. So what can we actually do with our chatbots in terms of, I guess, both bridging that gap? You've sort of mentioned the relay there already, but the other thing too, just monitoring those comments.
Sure. So actually, maybe I'll just share my screen in 1 second here. So I'm a big fan for this reason of Battissimo. There's also a bot called Mix It Up, which is starting to get more multicasting features. They've got a few sites they're starting to build in YouTube. I really like them for different reasons. Battissimo is cloud-based, so you just need a browser to run it, and it's got a bunch of different things that it does do, but I specifically want to call out the moderation stuff. So you can set up different spam filters so you can blacklist specific words. And you'll see here, it does all of these platforms, including your Discord and Slack. Not that you're streaming to Slack, but yeah, it'll let you could specifically turn off different platforms to be blocked by the word list and whatnot. Um, you can put a bunch of other sort of spam filters in, like if somebody shouts with just all uppercases or uses like an all emote message, which personally I like the all emote messages. I don't have a problem with those. Let them go. You can whitelist specific URLs. So if you want to block all links from showing up, that's a possibility. But then you can be like, obviously I want my own site to show up and maybe my Twitch clips. And so you can do the same sort of thing there. It lets you, again, pull all the platforms. And you can put a character limit on your messages. If you see, and we've done this over on Q Avalanche, there are certain big blocks of spam messages that will come in. And I literally threw it into a character counter and I was like, okay, that's 450. My character message limit is 448. And there you go. They also have this Cyber Guardian, which you can see what all of the things it does, but it's kind of like a built-in moderator. And a lot of the platforms themselves do have these kind of things as well, but this gives you controls for all of those things in one place. Batismo also has a few other things like commands that you can run. It's a little more limited on what platforms you can do these on. This one, it's only Twitch and YouTube and Discord. So you could have specific commands that your cross community can be running, but then you have to start to be like, well, sorry guys, over on Brime, this doesn't work for you, and so on and so forth. And they have just a bunch of other things. But yeah, those moderator abilities is the thing I wanted to point out that goes across to all the platforms.
Nice. And if people want to check out that, we do have a link there, so you can tell people about that one.
Yeah, so you can follow my quick, easy vanity link here, sandproof.tv/Batismo. The service itself is you can sign up for free. They do have a pro plan, which if you do that, I get a referral on. And the pro plan just expands certain other things that happen. Like you're not going to be limited on your moderation stuff from that. I don't even beyond. I honestly don't recall what awesome things you get with the pro plan beyond. Let's see. I don't know, but they do have it. Like 90% of the stuff works for free. So don't even worry about paying for it. Don't let them know I said that.
Awesome. So that might be something that you might want to check out in terms of sort of extending your ability to moderate and incorporate some of those other features, which are really nice. So I guess, like Sam, if we have been streaming to a whole bunch of random places, at what point do you sort of take a bit of stock and think about maybe double down on one or maybe two? And how would you unpack that decision?
So, I think there's a lot of things that you have to weigh in on this, and that is what your goals really are. And, it depends on a few things. Like if you just want to grow and grow and grow, then you're probably going to want to stay multicasting for a longer time. There may be a time where it does plateau because you're in a sense still spreading yourself out too much. Like there will be a time where you may see that your growth has kind of slowed down a lot, which might be the time to look around and be like, well, what is the majority of my my traffic? Which is what happened essentially with the Kitten Cam. It was kind of a combination of things where for a long time we were multicasting and our main base was at Mixer, and Mixer was fine. Like we had the affiliate account with Mixer. You can still multicast and be part of their program. So for us, it didn't matter. We were just going to keep going until, something amazing happened. Unfortunately, the amazing thing that happened was Mixer shut down. And then there was a mad scramble to see what's going to be our home base now. and it looked like it was going to be D Live, which again had an affiliate program that you could be a part of and not be exclusive to. But ultimately, what ended up happening in our case was our Twitch like skyrocketed, and it got to a point where we were like, everything else is relatively quiet. There was still traffic, but the majority, probably 80% of our traffic and growth was happening on Twitch. And it got to a point where it was more than 60% of our user base was in fact just Twitch, because we were on, like I said, 22 platforms, including some of the ones that don't speak English, which for a kitten cam doesn't matter. So like that worked
Yes.
great. Like we had a contingent in Russia from Good Game that was like really strong. And there was like one guy over there who was able to like translate things when we did talk on camera. So thank you to Lunar if you're still out there somewhere. But like, yeah, it just became apparent like everyone's going to our Twitch and we should probably give it a shot and see if we even get accepted to their affiliate program, which we did. And we were like, we're just going to try it for like 3 months and see if it's worth keeping it here. And it was like, that's where we stayed. We didn't go back. I kind of have every once in a while been like, maybe we should. I think there's a point where as a small streamer, you're going to grow and you're going to find one platform that takes off, and that is the time to double down on it. And then as a medium streamer, you're going to build that platform and build that platform. And I think there's going to be another point where you almost take back the power of your own brand, and you'll be like, at this point, I don't need this affiliate program or this partner program. I've got, the brand deals coming in from here and here and here. And if I open my stream up, I'm going to bring in X thousand more views per month, which equates money. That might be the point to then break your exclusivity and go back out to multicasting. It's not going to happen for everyone, but I think that is a very possible natural routine for this whole thing.
And I guess the other thing too, and I know you can speak to this as someone who's been streaming in all kinds of ways since 2005, but sometimes you choose to leave a platform and sometimes the platform just disappears from the face of the earth.
Yes.
There's a reason, we mentioned Mob Crush earlier. I know you started on Stickam. Don't go to that domain, by the way, if you remember what it was.
Oh, it's so sad.
Really,
Oh God, it's the worst thing ever.
don't go there. It's very not safe for work.
No.
So somebody's obviously grabbed that domain and using it for their own purposes. But I guess that's the thing. Like, I always sort of try to explain to people that social media is in many ways rented land. So it's not even that you need to have your show on your own little platform, but you do need to have some sort of mechanism to communicate with your audience in the events that, for whatever reason the platform disappears, maybe your account is removed for any number of reasons. So we come back to things like your own website, your own mailing list, and certainly like even the Discord community. We had a look at Discord recently on the show, so you can check that one in the archives. But just making sure that you do give people some options for their own preferences, but even just as a backup in this tumultuous online world in which we live, because nothing is sort of guaranteed forever.
Yeah, no, I mean platforms die. Platforms die all the time, and more often than not, it happens so fast that if you don't already have that plan ready, it's too late. So like Stickam and Mixer, those all went down within 28 days or a month or something like that. And it, Daily Booth, like all of these things, the minute they announced it, if you didn't know where your audience was going or how to keep them, it was the mad dash to collect 50,000 usernames or whatever. It's not going to happen. You're going to get maybe 0.5%. So yes, you should be aware right now that everything you're doing could go away. So like, have the backup plan that you control. Have your website, have your Discord. Even Discord it's still technically somebody else's platform. Have your website, have an email list, but try and get people to follow you in a couple other places, and yeah, just keep track of everyone and stuff like that. I don't know what else to put in that, but
And I guess like I'm forever banging on about being a content creator, but I kind of think that's the video, the live stream, the podcast, the text is sort of the manifestation of your expertise. But
yeah.
make sure you keep recordings. You keep your own recordings. You keep
Oh
your own
yeah,
writing. We spoke about building a content library recently on the show. So even if these things go down, if you've invested a little bit of time making sure that you've got those that are organized, you can find them again. As much as we don't like the idea of losing our YouTube account, if something did happen and we had those things ready to go, we could just start a new account. We could upload things. We could let
sure,
our audience know by other means. So, and that's the thing. Like I see all kinds of people posting really inane posts about nothing in particular, and obviously you don't want to save those for forever. You don't need them. You probably shouldn't be posting them in the first place. They're a waste of everybody's time. Stop doing that. Don't make me threaten you. But certainly, if you made anything of any value, that's the point at which you really want to take a step back and say, "Oh, okay, I need to make sure I've got this, and I've backed this up in various places, and
yeah,
it's ready to access and reuse and repurpose at the event that I actually need to do that, or even if I just want to do it." Because the other thing is we talk about platforms going away, but other platforms are being created as well. So maybe and I try to avoid riding the trends too much. A I'm such a boring, stable person in that way. I'm like, if you find something that works for you, just keep doing it until it no longer works. And I know
right,
people are so distracted by the new shiny every single week, but I don't think it's going to serve you. But if you keep your content, if you keep those digital assets, you can reuse them. They are, at the end of the day, they're things you've created that you own. So
yeah.
keep
I
that
mean,
in mind.
yeah, it's the if something's worth saying once, it's worth saying 1,000 times thing. You're just saying it somewhere new,
Yes.
and that's fine. If you can, as we always push to repurpose content, but if you can repurpose something you've already used without having to create it from scratch, do it.
All right. Well, I'm sort of reaching the end of the show. If
Oh
you've
yeah,
got any burning questions, get them into the chat ASAP. But it's been really good to sort of explore some of these technologies. The other thing I will say is there are a lot of them. So I think what I'd recommend to someone who's a complete beginner is just find something you can get started with and give it a go. And again, it comes back to that whole thing of if something's working, don't complicate your life any more than you need to. So try, and I think StreamYard and Restream, they both have free plans.
yeah,
There might be some branding included. I'm sure there is actually for both of
yeah,
those services on the free plan, but you certainly can. I think you can. I'm pretty sure you can do two destinations on the free plans for both of those. So just try these things out. And I guess the other thing is sometimes the the thing that stops people from getting started in this isn't the technology. It's actually more the fear of being on camera, about communicating. And if that's the case, you probably can set up these things in private communities and just have your friends be there and support you and give you feedback. So, the one thing that won't get you any better is just procrastinating and not doing anything at all. So try and take some action towards the thing that you want to see in the world. That's just get started with what's available. And there's this really profound thought which we might end on. All good things must come to an end, but the closing of one door is the opening of another door.
like this episode.
Indeed.
Thanks, Q.
So, Sam, where can people find you and watch your
Yeah,
content and all those good things?
I'm Sam Proof on all of the platforms, and you can find all of my links from samproof.tv.
Nice. And if you want to catch up with me, you can head over to johnlacey.com. You'll find all the links and articles and videos over there. So, again, I hope you've enjoyed today's session. Thanks for hanging out in the chat. We have actually moved to a slightly later time, so thanks for everybody that's made that change and joined us. I'm actually just madly opening a document in the background to see what we're talking about next week,
Oh yeah.
Sam. So just to refresh my memory, there's so many things that go into the show, and for every tab I have open, that's a little bit less memory that my poor computer can deal with. But next week we're actually talking about vertical streaming and video, so that will be really cool because I know it's a hot topic, and I know that people are really interested in that, and there are some things that you need to consider doing differently. So keep that in mind, and we'll be back at the same sort of time next week.
Yeah.
Check out those.
You're breaking up on my side, John. But if you have questions about vertical video or vertical platforms, let us know in the comments and we'll answer them next week.
Okay, awesome. So again, thank you for joining us today. We'll talk to you again soon.
Bye.